Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Sir, in this series of talks, I would be asking you questions on various aspects of life and would like to know your perspectives on it.
Sure, whatever the best possible information I have, knowledge based on my experience, I'll try to answer, which may be a perfect answer as well, but it is my perspective, as you said, I'll try to do it. Thank
Okay.
you.
Okay, sir, thank you. Can I start?
Yeah, please.
So, the first question is what are the present social problems in today's world?
Your question is a general question, and its answer is too elaborate, and a lot of complexities are involved. In fact, first we should understand what is the problem, and the problem is varying from person to person, situation to situation. Be it a political, be it a financial, be it is a social, there will be different type of problems. And today we have all those problems, they are there in the society. Let us start. The basic problem is the economic or poverty. And because people do need the money, and there is a major percentage of the persons in the world do not have enough money to survive, so that is a major problem I would consider. Then you have other type of problems, you have it. And these problems varying from country to country, state to state, geographical area, and these are also problems, they are with different sects of the people also, like the tribals, they have a different who are there in the forest, and the people who are in the urban area, they have some of the urban related problems. Similarly, rural, they have some rural related, village related problems.
So, sir, you have talked about different problems. Obviously, the solutions might vary, but according to you, is there a common solution to all these problems, whether tribal, state, or national?
See, it is very difficult to say that we have a straight jacket answer for this, like a common solution for all. But yes, you can narrow down to such a level to understand the people, their problems, and you can attack those problems and you can try to resolve. Let me give one few examples. See, social problems are there. In the social problems, we have society is divided into the two basic genders, men and women. Of course, you have other genders also which are cropping in. Men have a different problem as a social problems. Women have a different social problems. In fact, women have a lot of problems as we see in the day-to-day world. This is a social related problems. If you are talking about the economic relations or economic problems, yes, you have the economic problems, and villages need to have certain requirements. Urban folks, they need to have certain requirements. Similarly, it areas to area, it depends. So, because you wanted me to specify a particular thing, let me focus on the women problem, particularly with respect to their self-respect and social problems. Women is considered equal gender as per the times immemorial. They are born equal. But in today's world, particularly for last few centuries, their role in the society is always like any slavery. It's the men who dominates the women all the time. There may be an exception, as we know in the history also, women rule the world. And women also rule the countries. Like we have some of the women rulers in India also, like Jhansi Lakshmibai or Razia Sultana. But that happened only when there were no equal powerful men. Here, the equality among the women is one issue, and equality before the men and women is another issue. So this is a major social problem that we need to consider. So if you wanted to have the equality of the women, first we should, men should stop forcing their opinions on the women, and as a parents, they should allow the girl child to develop by their own with whatever the facilities available as per or are equal to the boys. That is one way you can give the more confidence into the girl child and they become a more powerful. This is a one social issue with respect to the women. We can try in this way. And coming back to Another simple problem, which is of course it's not a simple problem, complex problem with respect to the poverty. Now the poverty, where from the poverty has come? How many people they are starving in the world for the food? How many people don't have the proper food or clothing or even a shelter? You cannot have a global solution on a single line. You have to go into the details of each country, each state, each village, and there is an authority today everywhere which normally we call as a sovereignty. They should focus. At the same time, the society also should help them. For simple example, today in a democratic country like India, India is a democratic sovereign country, and it is also kind of a welfare state also, where they collect the taxes from the people who can afford or who are earning, and those taxes are spent on the people who could not have their own means of leading the life. That way you see food, shelter and all that is giving. So these are some of the solutions. A balanced approach should be done. At the same time, the government should not make the people stay lazy by giving all the freebies, and they should make them to earn their own unless they are totally disabled. So this is one way government should think, and society also should think to resolve a economic problem that is existing. These are all the two important things which I feel they are the major problems to be attacked. In addition to that, you have of course cultural or there and other technological related or other problems also there.
So, sir, you talked majorly about poverty and men, women. So I see this as an issue of inequality, an issue of domination. So we can see that in even the animal kingdom, there are alpha chimpanzees who try to dominate the rest of the group. So, but this is very different from what we see in the human society. So how can we use these information what we get from the animal society and make sure that we become better humans?
Yeah, good perception and good question. See, as you directly said, we are started comparing to the animals. See, human life is different from the animal life. That's why we always say that even human started with a animal like whatever the science or whatever it says, but there is a difference. Here, first let me focus on what you said with respect to the animal domination and all that. In animal, they dominate only for their needs. Once their needs are fulfilled, they are not bothered about the other animals. A lion which is totally had its own food and all that sleeps. Unless somebody tries to attack, it will not bother. Of course, there are certain animals aggrieved or aggressive all the time. These are the exception. But in case of a human beings, we don't have such limitations or such ideology. In fact, today a man or a human being wanted everything, starting from food, shelter and clothing to a level where he cannot even imagine. So these are all the issues are there. So comparison with the animal kingdom is totally, it's out of way we are trying to do it, because human beings are always above the animals. We have a thinking power. Human beings can think about good and bad. They have the how disparity they can make, how they can make intelligence to use for their life. These are all the specific privileges of course I can say the God has given. So they should feel different. They should understand others' needs also. Accordingly, they have to think and they have to do. And all the more for this, no human is a free human today's world. Everybody is under certain controls which we normally call as a sovereignty. So the law and order situation is also one important thing which will help or which will make the human beings to behave better way.
So, sir, what I have understood is humans are different from animals because of the thinking power. But again, this thinking power itself is the cause for greed. So, this when there is greed, as Mahatma Gandhi says that this world has enough resources to satisfy everyone's need, but not greed. And we can see that human beings are becoming greedy, and that has been the reason for whether the climate destruction or the increasing inequality in many nations. So, is there any way to control this greed?
See, one is like I said, no human being is a free person anywhere in the world. Even in the tribal areas, they have certain law and order, their own controls are there. The government should think about these things, first of all. Second thing is, each human, they have certain ideology based on either religion, faith, or their own way of thinking. They should also think. Like you rightly said, we have everything for our need, but not to the greed. Yes, and where from the greed comes? One of the reasons why the greed comes is out of a lack of protection or a lack of security for the future. In fact, I am not really going to the way of the communistic or socialistic world where the government takes total control and gives requirement for each and every person, because that is also not withstanding these days. So here only thing is that restrict the actions of the human being or the citizens of the country in such a way that they follow certain rules and regulations, and social responsibility also you have to bring into them. This social responsibility is possible only when they are taught from their childhood, then it is possible. That way we can try to at least do something for the society.
Okay, sir. So
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks a lot, sir. Those were many solutions to the issue. We'll have a discussion again on this.
Okay,
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. You are most welcome. Thanks for allowing me to speak on these things. Good day.
Good day, sir.